The trailer for the documentary was indeed aired. This is 19 calendar days and 13 court days before the application is launched.
Judge Potterell also slammed Makudumana's lawyers for their late submissions of court papers.
From the outset, the attorney for the doctor's attitude that a court must entertain a matter on the 11th September, while the answer need only be filed on the 10th of September before midnight, is preposterous.
Bester's application, which was separate from Makudumana's, was also dismissed with the court ruling that should he suffer defamation, he can sue. The flighting of the documentary will go ahead as planned this morning. Komzo Modise, Eyewitness News at the Pretoria High Court.
Let's stay in the courts. Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis has welcomed a Western Cape High Court order declaring a police raid on 2 mayoral committee members' offices unlawful. In January, officials raided the offices of Safety and Security MMC JP Smith and MMC for Energy Xanthia Limburg. The raid was in relation to a tender fraud case in the construction sector that was already before the courts involving former Human Settlements MMC Malusi Boy. Hill-Lewis says following the raid, he urgently met with the Provincial Police Commissioner, who informed him that there was no criminal docket linked to the raid. The mayor says the High Court's order brings closure and clarity.
I'm very glad that the spurious raids on JP Smith's and Xanthia Limburg's offices have been set aside by the High Court as unlawful and invalid. JP Smith is one of South Africa's foremost crime fighters. This raid was always obviously a fishing expedition and an abuse of power.
We shift our focus to this now. Refurbishments by Joburg Water to its main water system are set to begin in October. The repairs form part of a solution to ongoing water outages faced by communities in Westbury and surrounding areas where residents have been protesting over water cuts. The affected system serves 3 reservoirs, including Hurst Hill, Crosby and Brixton. Yesterday, Joburg Water and Mayor Dada Morero addressed the Westbury community on the issue. Morero says a short-term solution will be restoring the water in 7 days by shutting off supply in other areas. Joburg Water's Nchabeni Mugwebo explains the long-term solutions.
The first thing is the project for the reservoir towers, which were busy. Already should be commissioned in October 2025. We're busy with the projects for the back pipeline and 2 pump station, and that will be commissioned in December 2026. And lastly, we're also busy with the reservoir that will be refurbishing.
Trade and Industry Minister Park Stau has withdrawn the draft regulations that would have potentially seen people with student debt blacklisted. The department recently gazetted for public comment a number of draft amendments to the National Credit Act of 2005. The withdrawal comes after Dau faced public outcry over the amendments he said were set to strengthen consumer protections. Nogukanya Mdambo has the details.
Trade and Industry Minister Park Stau previously defended the move, saying the proposed changes are meant to ensure access to finance for micro, small and medium enterprises and not to prejudice graduates that owe universities fees. He says the decision to withdraw the proposed amendments now was informed by the overwhelming public response. This includes more than 20,000 submissions received by the department even before today's closing date for public comments. Most of the responses were opposed to the proposed regulations. Dow says he'll look into a process which will consider the changes that are required to protect students while continuing with efforts aimed at improving access to finance for SMMEs in order to plug the credit funding gap that currently exists. Nogukanya Mdambo, Eyewitness News.
And a number of vigils are being held in Charlie Kirk's honor around the United States. Events were held in Arizona, Texas, Utah, and at the Utah Valley University where he was shot. The conservative American activist and ally to President Donald Trump was shot and killed while speaking at an outdoor debate at that institution. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is currently investigating the case, and a manhunt is underway for the suspect. Gold is trading at $3,649.80 an ounce. The rand is at 17.40 to the dollar, 23.53 to the pound, 20.35 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $66.04 a barrel.
Heading towards Bedfordview at this hour, leaving Germiston, you can expect heavy delays. This is on the N3 northbound between the Geldenes interchange and Van Buren. Also traveling from Boksburg, Edenville area heading into Bedfordview. We also have slow-moving traffic, R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 29 and 30 degrees, while Cape Town is fine with a strong southeasterly wind at a high of 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the Netflix documentary on the debacle involving Thabo Bester and Dr. Nandi Pamakutumana will be airing following a failed court bid by the pair.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on Cape Talk and 702 is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. On the show today, Netflix gets the green light to air the Thabo Bester documentary. Lilian Ngoyi Street due to reopen today. The DTIC withdraws draft regulations. More taxi ranks expected to close in Cape Town due to violence. And it's Friday, so sports and good things too. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. Good to be with you today. We're watching a few developing stories. The one is the MMC of Mobility, Isaac Seleko in Cape Town. Just started a briefing now. It's expected that more taxi ranks could be closed. We know that violence around the taxi industry in Cape Town has been a real worry. So we'll let you know as soon as that announcement comes through. We'll also be speaking to the Western Cape Premier, Alan Wendy, about the situation as well with crime in the Western Cape. We know that the minister was in the Western Cape, the police minister, lots of engagements taking place there. The president is in the Northwest. He's doing an oversight visit today. We know, of course, the Northwest service delivery, a big issue. So we'll try and follow some of that for you too. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note, 072 702 1702 072 567 1567. But you can Netflix and chill this weekend because the North Gauteng High Court has dismissed an urgent application to stop that Netflix documentary on Thabo Bester and Dr. Nandipa Magudumana from airing. They both went to court on an urgent basis. That has been dismissed, as you heard in the news bulletin. So that means Netflix can now air the documentary. Khomotso Modise, EWN reporter, was in court for us. She's back now in our Joburg studio. Khomotso, take us through that judgment handed down today.
Good afternoon, Mandy. Well, the judgment by Judge Sulet Potrol came exactly 30 minutes before Netflix was scheduled to release that documentary. And she started with addressing the application by Dr. Nandi Pamakutumana because Makudumana and Bester had separate applications on this matter. With regards to Makudumana, Judge Potrol was speaking about how Makudumana had known all along, from April at least, about the release of this documentary. She'd seen the trailer and she'd already seen all the things that she's flagged, basically saying that she could have approached the court sooner. This is on the point that was argued by Advocate Tembeka Ngcukaitobi on behalf of Netflix yesterday, that the urgency that they are arguing for was self-created because they knew in August they could have filed papers in August. Instead, they left it for the last minute, only filed their papers this week and expected the court to hear the matter in a day. Let's listen to what Judge Potrol had to say.
From the outset, the attorney for the doctor's attitude that a court must entertain a matter on the 11th September, while the answer need only be filed on the 10th of September before midnight, is preposterous. Furthermore, setting out under oath that the investigation of the matter in anyhow went beyond 5 September is a fact under oath, rendering the matter not ripe for hearing a day before the screening. This matter is then proceeded with on the 11th of September 2025 in this division, as instructed by the Acting Deputy Judge President of the Gauteng Division, Johannesburg.
So, Khomotso, I've just gone onto Netflix and had a look, and I see that I can now watch Beauty and the Beaster. It's uploaded, and obviously this is great publicity for Netflix. You know, you always say the best publicity for a series or a book is an attempt at an interdict. What is Netflix saying about the way that it went about doing this production and what it now means?
Absolutely, Mandy. I mean, you know, we've even been hearing people with their conspiracies saying this may have been planned. Maybe this was all part of the plan to make sure that, there's free publicity and people can end up watching. But what we heard from Netflix yesterday during their arguments is that they addressed an argument that was made by Dr. Nandipha Magudumana around the signing of a contract. We learned yesterday that Magudumana had in fact signed an agreement with the production company, Storyscope, which produced this for the documentary for Netflix. And she had been paid for it as well. And Netflix was saying that she was distorting the facts of that agreement. You'll remember that Magudumana had actually decided that that agreement is invalid and unenforceable because of some of the clauses in it. But Netflix was saying you entered into this agreement, you signed it, and you knew exactly what was in the agreement when you signed, and you were legally advised. You had your attorneys there, and they advised you to sign. And so Netflix sees no reason why this can't go ahead. They also address the issue around defamation that was raised by Thabo Bester, his lawyers, saying that the Netflix documentary creates the impression that he's already been found guilty of the prison escape, which is the charge that he's been charged with, and the trial is yet to begin. But Netflix says that there's nothing in the documentary that isn't already in the public, and they say the fact that he's a murderer and a rapist is already in the public. It's been covered quite a bit. We saw the advocate reading, some articles from publications that had already released these articles way before. They're saying there's nothing new in this documentary. He, in fact, says you cannot defame Thabo Bester by calling him a rapist and a murderer, because that's exactly what he is.
Exactly the point. Khomotso, thank you so much. Khomotso Modise, EWN reporter. The fact that he thinks that he can argue that he's being defamed through this documentary when he has already been convicted of these crimes is astonishing and a waste of the court's time, I think. Well, Netflix has now loaded the documentary, Beauty and the Beaster. So if you're looking for something to do this weekend, all this is going to do is just drive more publicity and more views.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
I mentioned at the start of the show that we were watching a briefing by the Western Cape MEC of Mobility, Isaac Seleko, about more taxi ranks being closed in Cape Town following taxi violence. Let's listen in now, because he has announced that some ranks will be closed, and this feed is courtesy of Newsroom Africa.
Before we proceed further with questions from the media, as Minister has alluded here that the decisions was not taken in isolation by the Western Cape government, I would like to give an opportunity to an integral partner of the Western Cape government, which is the South African Police Services, and right next to me is our provincial commissioner. If he could just share some inputs with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director, and the MEC for Mobility, HOD, and the colleagues, the media. I've got Deputy Provincial Commissioners here, and the head of legal service with me, my lawyer. We note the decision of the Provincial Cabinet with regard to the closure of identified routes as from the 17th September 2025. As much as the decision gives us a short time to a security cluster to have a couple of days to draw the contingency plan to mitigate the risk that is associated. But on top of our mind, we'll be focusing on the following: safety of the commuters, safety of other road users, the risk to alternative modes of transport, and any other unlawful disruption activities. A stern warning is henceforth issued to all affected parties to conduct themselves in a lawful manner that would not infringe on the rights of the others. As the Providence, we will not hesitate to take decisive actions against those who transgress the law. With others in the law enforcement, we are about to work on the requisite contingency plan as a matter of urgency. As we edge closer towards the specified date, we remain hopeful that an amicable solution to the standoff is found. Thank you.
So the Western Cape Provincial Commissioner speaking there, Thembisile Patekile, speaking about the closures of certain ranks, reacting to that announcement by the MEC. The change in routes follows the rank closures as well. So an explanation there from the Commissioner, joint press conference. Listeners in Cape Town, how is this going to impact you? What are your thoughts? I'll get the exact list for you of which routes are being changed. And there will be drop-off and pick-up areas as well. So just to give you a sense of the extent of this, and we'll keep listening in. We're hoping to also speak to the MEC of Mobility, Isaac Seleko, in response. Is this the way that we're solving the problem? Do you think it's the right way to do it? I'd love to hear from you. Send me a WhatsApp voice note.
702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays 12 to 1 p.m.
Well, today is the 12th of September, and you'll remember on the 1st of September when Lilian Ngoyi Street, the old Bree Street in the Joburg CBD, was due to reopen, the mayor said it's not delayed, but it's delayed. So it's going to open on the 12th of September. So let's find out if Lilian Ngoyi Street has in fact reopened. Alpha Ramashwana has had a look at that for us, and he joins us in our Joburg studio. Alpha, good afternoon to you. Is Lilian Ngoyi Street open?
Good afternoon, Mandy. Yes, the city of Johannesburg has finally opened Lilian Ngoyi Street today after 2 years since it was destroyed by an underground gas explosion. And there has been so many delays in, opening the road. The first delays were caused by contractors who had disputes with the municipality, and they had to change contractors twice. The last delays that we saw, really till today, I don't think no one knows who caused them or why there were delays. I mean, you remember last week we went there, the mayor called us saying he's going to reopen the road, and we got there. He just got there and announced that announced the completion of the repairs, but the road wasn't opened on that day. So today we did go back to see if indeed the city has reopened the road, and indeed they have opened the road, Mandy.
And does it look like it's supposed to be reopened? Is it finished, in other words?
Look, there are still construction machines. There are bulldozers on the side of the road that you can see. The green nets in certain portions of the road, the green construction nets that they use to cover the entire precinct, in certain parts of the road, they are still there. Last week when we went there were no road markings. Those have been done. Traffic lights are working now. So in terms of facilities that are needed in order for a road to operate, those have been done. But today, as the motorists, were moving around Lilian Ngoyi Street, the city's teams were still cleaning up on the road. So while cars, finally using the road, there were those big trucks that release water to clean the road at the same time. So while it's operating, some final touch-ups are still being done at the moment.
And Alpha, what have business owners in that area told you?
So it's been 2 years since the road was destroyed by an underground gas explosion, and parts of the road were cordoned off, so pedestrians couldn't walk, they couldn't move around. So naturally, of course, their businesses were affected. Some of the businesses have since shut down. Some of them didn't open today, but those that did, they told us that it's been difficult over the past 2 years. They haven't been making money as they have been. They have to pay rent, they have to pay their staff, and they were doing so without any customers coming to them because the road was closed off. And now today, for the first time in 2 years, pedestrians could be seen walking, getting into some of the stores and purchasing. And to them, they're so glad that finally things can get back to normal. But the city of Johannesburg did say that part of the money will be given to the business owners who are affected. So there is, I think, 24 million rand, if I'm correct, that will be handed over to some of the businesses that were affected by the blast.
Okay, and you've been speaking to some of those business owners.
Yes, we spoke to a number of the business owners today. They are yet to get any confirmation about the money. The mayor last week, when he announced the completion of the repairs, he said that the 24 million rand is going to be given to the businesses. They have no idea of this yet, but they say that the mayor hasn't given them any confirmation when they should expect this money to be handed over to them or sent to their accounts. But the businesses really are happy that things are getting back to normal, that they can have customers now after 2 years, and that they can start operating as normal. I mean, you can imagine having a store but no customers at all, but you're still operating and you still have operating expenses. Those are some of the lived realities that they had to face over the past 2 years. But right now, they're really just happy that things are going back to normal for them.
And Alpha, what was that thing with Solly Msimanga that he would donate a kidney if it reopened by the 1st? What did he say?
So Solly Msimanga went to the street, I think, sometime in July, and looking at the repairs, he said that if they are done with the repairs by the 1st of September, he's willing to give us his kidney for free. I mean, to be fair, I think he still needs to keep his kidney because technically the repairs were not done by the 1st of September. The road was only open today. So I think Solly Msimanga, the leader of the DA here in Gauteng, can keep his kidney.
Good for him. Alpha, thank you so much. Alpha Ramashwana, EWN reporter. As he mentioned, he's been speaking to business owners on Lilian Ngoyi Street. Take a listen to what they told him.
I feel better, man. It's better because of now the traffic will now flow instead of deviating out of this, using other roads and routes. But it's better that it's open. At least we can now drive and, be more efficient.
And how was your business affected? Were you still making money?
Traffic, Joe. The traffic was bad. Making money, but not that much because of now time.
And are you happy now that it's open?
Finally vindicated, Charlie. Finally vindicated. But they could have made the road wider because of now traffic, 2 lanes, taxis, my guy. That's the only issue.
So those are business owners on Lilian Ngoyi Street. Finally, 2 years later, the street has been reopened. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
One festival, endless flavor, and 2 unforgettable days of timeless music. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, returns on 20 and 21 September at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday, the stage erupts with Don Toliver, Questa, and Nkabi Zezwe. Then on Sunday, experience the legendary Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, Lyra, and more. The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
At Trinity House, authentic Christian values empower our students to succeed together. With passionate teachers and expert coaches, we support your child in reaching their full potential in the classroom and in life. Join us for our open day on Saturday, 13 September from 9 to 12 at our campuses in Centurion, Glen Vista, Rand Park Ridge, and Little Falls. RSVP now at trinityhouse.co.za. Trinity House, succeeding together.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like a businesswoman on the way to the airport after sleeping through her alarm. Bags in the back, boarding pass on the dashboard. She prays she'll make her flight.
Hope I make it.
The Outsurance pointsman know it's not just a car in traffic. It's the potential closing of a big deal. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005. In proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
And now, it's back to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report.
This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
12:26 on the Midday Report. Trade Minister Parks Tau has withdrawn draft credit regulations. There's been a huge public outcry and pushback on this proposed legislation around student debt. So the draft regulations would have potentially seen those who have student debt being blacklisted. And they opened this, it was gazetted for public comment around these draft amendments to the National Credit Act of 2005. And clearly he has listened. So let's find out more about this and reaction to it from Sabelo Chalufu, who's a political activist who's been pushing back against this draft legislation. Sabelo, good afternoon to you. What is your reaction to this announcement from the minister?
Strong welcome. We welcome it very strongly. The minister's proposal was frankly very regressive. His stated intention, for what it's worth, only came to us publicly after the outcry began. It didn't come before. And when now the minister explains himself and what his intention was, which is apparently to help SMMEs to access funding and so on, frankly, that doesn't really help the case because, number one, there are better ways for you to do that. But also, additionally, insofar as it relates to students, you can create access to funding for SMMEs without causing harm to students. And his regulations right now put students in harm's way directly.
So do you think, from the way he's explaining it now, that this was an unintended byproduct of the regulation, the draft regulation, or do you think this is just a kind of late explanation?
Well, I'm in a difficult spot here. On the one hand, I do not want to believe that my government would be intentionally malicious in its handling of very sensitive issues regarding the lives and livelihoods of very vulnerable people. Number one. However, when I then look at what is written in the regulations themselves, and I pair that with the minister's explanation, and I additionally add the fact that he at no point before the furore had the minister communicated to us what he intends to do and how these regulations assist that project, I then end up in a situation where I think it is either malice or there was simply incompetence on the part of the drafters of these regulations, or it was both.
So the minister says he will now look at a process that will consider the changes that are required to protect students while continuing with efforts aimed at improving access to finance for SMMEs. What do you think should happen going forward?
Well, the minister should. It is the minister's domain to consider how to unlock opportunity for SMMEs and bigger business for all that matters. It is his responsibility to do that. He must do that. And so on my side, at least, I welcome any attempt to do that for businesses. And what I know as fact is that there are better ways in which this can be done without using the kind of information that is inserted there by his regulations. So that's the first part. On the other side as well, there's a broader conversation which in fact is important to be had about how it is that we deal with historic student debt and then going forward how we deal with student funding in a proper way in order to create and unlock opportunity for young people in South Africa, and not as would have been the case with this draft and as it currently exists, in fact, in the regulations as they currently stand, a situation where young people risk being in a position where they can be entrenched in poverty and out of employment. We need to create a better way of doing that. And there are many solutions on the table, and some I'm certain that various actors will propose to him. And there's already, in fact, a draft, a private member's bill in Parliament that the minister can engage as well. And he can do so with his counterpart at higher education. And for what it's worth, it for me is slightly quite disappointing that it turns out that the Department of Higher Education and Trade and Industry only started talking about the consequences of these things on students now that there was this furore. They weren't talking about it before by the looks of it.
Sabelo, thank you so much. Sabelo Chalufu, political activist, reacting there to this decision by the Trade and Industry Minister Parks Tau to withdraw the draft regulations that could potentially have seen people with student debt being blacklisted. 12:31, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. The Gqeberha High Court has postponed the inquest into the death of anti-apartheid activist Steve Biko. The matter will return to court on November the 12th following case management. Biko died on this day in 1977 in a police cell after a month of his imprisonment. The purpose of the inquest is to present evidence that will enable the court to make a finding on whether the death was caused by someone's failure to prevent it. The Communications Department has appointed a service provider to help turn around the financially troubled SABC. The public broadcaster is facing a potential switch-off at the end of the year as Centec, which carries its TV and radio signals, says it is losing more than 70 million rand a month covering the SABC's unpaid distribution costs. The SABC has been battling heavy losses for years now, relying on bailouts to keep the lights on and struggling to meet its broadcasting mandate. And President Cyril Ramaphosa has slammed the poor running of some northwest municipalities, describing it as unacceptable. The president says at least 10 municipalities in the province are either under administration or facing serious financial trouble. Ramaphosa and a few ministers are currently in Rustenburg today to engage with the northwest government. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at 1 or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Tolagile Mganga. Swayster Brain has urged the Springbok women to enjoy the biggest game of their lives. That's when they face champions New Zealand in a World Cup quarter-final on Saturday. Captain Nolusundi Soboy has been recalled for that game in one of 10 changes to the starting team that lined up against France last Sunday.
Let's go with everything we have. We'll carry off the field. It's an opportunity that we all hoped for and prayed for, and it's here now. 13th a year ago on the world ladder, and now we're in the top 8 playing the top 8 sides. 8 of the sides left home, so it's fantastic. I'm so proud of the girls, but it will be lovely to pull off a good game on Saturday, and hopefully we can stay a week longer. Who knows?
Former Springbok fullback Bevan Fontaine has died at the age of 46. He played 2 tests for the Boks back in 2006 and was head coach of Northern Rhinos. Bok assistant coach Mzwandile Stick has paid him this tribute.
I know how close he is with his boy. I know how supportive he was with his boy, and his wife. At that age, they still had some great years ahead between them as a family. Now, to lose a father, at the age of 46, it's very, very sad. It's really, very heartbreaking to lose a father at a young age, and I feel for his family.
And the MTN 8 final tomorrow pits defending champions Orlando Pirates up against Stellenbosch. Tsegofatso Mabasa and his Buccaneers teammates go into it looking to win this trophy for a historic 4th year in a row.
There's a saying that has been said amongst these corridors for the last couple of years, within the group, that history can never be rewritten, and that's what we've always believed, and it will be no different this weekend going into the final again. Hopefully we can achieve it and do 4 in a row.
Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this hour in Wadeville, Germiston, there's slow-moving traffic on Osborne Road approaching the N17. Also, traffic a bit sluggish heading towards Bedford View. That's leaving Germiston on the N3 northbound. That's between the Elands Interchange and Van Buren. Also, we still have those roadworks in the Devland area heading towards Eldorado Park. That's on the Golden Highway between the N1 and Union Avenue. If you're leaving Sandton at this stage, expect some delays. This is on Greyston Drive approaching the M1. Traffic lights still not working in Rand Park Ridge at Bearsnodia and the N1. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
This is Jade. She'll spend hours comparing almond milk and once made a spreadsheet just for sneakers. But when she found Santam, ASA's leading short-term insurer that offers a range of cover options, from vehicle to building and home contents, even she didn't overthink it. The kind of freedom Santam gives you takes some getting used to. Speak to your broker. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer and controlling company for its group companies.
Mzansi, the wait is finally over. The great South African sale is here. Explore more for less with up to 50% off travel deals. Surf the waves, hike the hills, enjoy Kasi, and explore the wild. Book from 8 to 14 September 2025. Visit shortleft.co.za to book now and travel later. After all, it's your country. Enjoy it. Because nothing's more fun than a short left. Hashtag TravelWise Mzansi. T's and C's apply.
One festival, endless flavor, and 2 unforgettable days of timeless music. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, returns on 20 and 21 September at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday, the stage erupts with Don Tolliver, Questa, and Nkabi Zezwe. Then on Sunday, experience the legendary Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, Lyra, and more. The DSTV Delicious Festival, powered by Lotto Star. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
It all starts with FNB Private. With secure, easy payments for a hassle-free overseas holiday. Tap, swipe, or go digital with your FNB Visa cards. Earn rewards when using your FNB credit card or global account debit and virtual card. You can even fund your global account on the FNB app while traveling. Make the most of every moment. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider. TCs earn rules and limits apply.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Afternoon, Mandy. It will be interesting to see or know how that 24 million rand will be split among those businesses. You know, whether it will be a blanket approach to say this is how much you're going to get, or it will be a quantitative approach that would, for example, involve SARS, to know how much money will be given to those businesses and how much they've lost in the 2 years. It will be very interesting.
Hi, Mandy. I love your show as always, but I will not be watching no Madugudumana and any best. I'm not a fan of crime. This is such a blatant abuse just to garner support for their Netflix movie. It's such an expensive exercise that they are hoping to make trillions and trillions of rands out of their crime. Is that legal? The last time I checked, it was illegal to profit from the proceeds of your crime. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much for that. Magudumana has not been convicted yet, so she can make money from this Netflix series. Thabo Bester can't, because you can't make money from the proceeds of crime. Well, let's speak about crime and go straight to the Western Cape Premier, Ellen Winde, who's stepped out of a meeting to join us. Of course, there have been lots of conversations. The police minister, Feroz Kachalia, has been in the Western Cape. They've been visiting areas, and of course now also just that announcement that some taxi routes are going to be closed too. Western Cape Premier, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Mandy. Good to be with you.
So you have met with the police minister this week. Rising crime in the Western Cape, of course, a big concern for you. He has given the hope of devolution some life. What is the outcome of those meetings, and anything particularly notable that you felt after that?
So obviously, I really welcome his statement. The door is open. It's not closed on devolution. And we had a good one-on-one meeting. I mean, he and I used to serve as MECs for community safety together years ago. So we already know each other, and we had a really good conversation. You can see that he's a professor because he's applying his mind, and the kind of interventions that we talk about, he's looking at them and he's thinking about it. So I really welcome that. We've also agreed that between the two of us, we have to show political leadership. And I mean, we cannot show that, the national government, provincial government, local governments are all separated on this, because, we also need civil society to be working with us. And if we can't work together, we can never expect to move the needle. And then I think lastly, at the beginning of the GNU and the new term, we signed an MOU between national government, provincial government and local government with a whole range of areas where we're going to work together. And I think we were becoming more and more frustrated that we weren't getting traction on a number of these areas. He himself, after his engagement, said, "Jeepers, we've got to do a lot of work here." And so we've agreed to highlight some of those areas between the two of us that are going to give sort of political leadership on those issues. And, how are some of those areas that not perhaps a full devolution, but parts of devolving some kind of powers that we can start to try things. And so that for me is encouraging. We're going to look at ways in where we can maybe help the police bolster with more resources, because we are totally under-resourced. We had 20,000 active officers, men and women, on the streets in 2019. We're now just less than 13,000. So crime's going up, population's going up, deployment and resources are going down. That is absolutely not acceptable. And so we understand the constraints that we're under, but we've got to find new ways of tackling this problem. We've got to fight for more resources at a national level and at local level, and we've got to work together.
Two of the big areas of concern in terms of the rise in violent crime is from gangsterism, which we know is an ongoing problem, and then the taxi industry. In the last half an hour, we've had an announcement from your MEC that some routes are going to be closed. We are hoping to speak to him, but just from a provincial government perspective, how are you hoping that this will impact on the taxi-related violence?
So Alex Aleko brought this issue to Cabinet this morning. We had a Cabinet this morning on it and agreed, obviously this is his domain. He's now got the court interdict. He's gone through the processes and his power is roots. We, at the last massive taxi strike and all the violence that happened, we set up a taxi task team. We've given that task team an ultimatum now to say, you've got to find solution. Otherwise, what we've done is gone through the process. Our power is we close routes. We take your business away. And so that's what he's announced today. So the closure will happen on Wednesday next week. Just as we expect them to give commuters notice, we also are giving commuters notice, but we're actually giving the taxi industry notice that we will not tolerate this kind of criminal activity on dealing with competition. You competitors in business can't use a gun to sort out your competitiveness. And this is one of the powers that we have. So he's exercising that power. We're putting an ultimatum to them. And we need them around the table. We need to agree to these solutions around, routes and licensing, etc. This is something you need to deal with in a boardroom and not, at the end of a gun. So it's just one component of this crime that's just, affecting people across the board here at the moment. And so, it's multi-pronged, and this is one of the areas is taxi violence.
Premier, thank you very much. Our Western Cape Premier, Alan Winde, speaking to us there. As he mentioned, they need more resources. And that's the big concern. A very good point that population is going up, crime is going up, but resources are not going up. And that's one of the big problems. I like the sound of the fact that there's political will from both the Premier and the Police Minister, and that they've agreed to work together on this collaboration. That's what we really, really need. But what are your thoughts? Particularly Cape Town residents, commuters who are going to be impacted by the closure of routes. Is this the right approach? They are saying they're going to put more buses, more trains available to commuters, but this is the leverage that the city and the province has. They can close the routes. They've got the court interdict. Is this the way to go? On the WhatsApp line, if they continue shooting each other, then those routes must be operated by the city. So big up to the Western Cape. What are your thoughts on that? Send me a WhatsApp voice note.
702, the Midday Report, Monday to Friday.
12 to 1 p.m.
So we've been speaking a lot about crime, corruption, wrongdoing. Let's take a different stance for a moment, because we need light and shade. And are you wearing your funky socks today? I'm not going to tell you what my socks look like today, because I'll get myself into trouble. But it's Funky Sock Day today. It's a fundraiser that aims to raise 2.5 million rand for 4 charities in South Africa. Let's find out more about this with Janine McAvoy from Breadline Africa. Janine, good afternoon to you. Tell us about Funky Sock Day.
Hi, Mandy. Thank you for having me. Funky Socks Day is more than just an initiative. It's really a movement. And now in its 4th year with PNA. And we are super excited. This year we've gone bigger, bolder, better, I'd like to think. And it's all about buying that 10 Rand sticker at any PNA store to support worthy causes.
What are the causes that will be supported?
So Breadline Africa, who I'm representing, we're on a mission to create safe educational spaces in South Africa where children can dream, play and learn, one child, one school, one hope-filled space at a time. And with the funds raised through the P&A Funky Socks Day campaign, we hope to give 50 educational resource packs to children across South Africa in the most under-resourced communities at early childhood development centers. We've then got CHOC, the Childhood Cancer Foundation, who will also be supporting children affected by this horrible illness through education and care. We've also got Rally to Read, an amazing organization focusing on literacy in South Africa, also in under-resourced schools and communities. And then Matla Abano, who is new to the campaign, really doing wonderful work with vulnerable children who are affected and are survivors of abuse. And they will be providing comfort packs to these child victims.
So there's a live tracker on the P&A website, so you can go and track progress. It's at 55.47%, so that's 1.4 million out of the 2.5 million rand goal. Can people still go and support, even if they are wearing their socks and they haven't bought the 10 rand sticker? What should people be doing?
Absolutely. We still got a little way to go to reach that 2.5 million rand goal. So yes, people can still go today and the weekend to go buy their 10 rand sticker, and they can rock their funky socks over the weekend if need be. But, sticker sales are still open throughout the weekend, and we just encourage the general public to please go out and continue to support this worthy cause.
You don't need an excuse to wear funky socks, but this is a great one. Janine McAvoy from Breadline Africa, thank you so much for speaking to us. So go and get your funky sock sticker, $10 at P&A, to support those worthy causes.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Hi, Mandy. Mpo here. Mandy, the minister's draft regulation it's a good idea, but not as it's intended, and not for small businesses. This would be brilliant if he was saying it to continue funding other students so that it can be a revolving door that those from the past finance the new ones, and so forth and so forth. Not to fund small businesses. For small businesses, he needs to find the money elsewhere, not from students. I don't think it's right what he's doing. He needs to leave that money there for students.
Be in it to win it by playing Powerball and Powerball Plus for a life-changing 124 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Friday. That's right. Play Powerball for an estimated 64 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 60 million rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
This September, Joburg Theatre brings you a powerful mix of drama, music, and dance. Dancing the Death Drill, adapted from Fred Khumalo's acclaimed novel, tells the tale of Pito Mutaung, a South African soldier forever changed by the tragic sinking of the SS Mandy. The cast features Kwenzo Ngobo, Tuli Tabete, and Clint Brink, with choreography by Luyanda Sidia and original music by Msaki. This is a story of love, loss, and remembrance. Catch it from 9 to 28 September 2025 on the Mandela stage at Joburg Theatre. Dancing the Death Drill, a moment in history brought to life. Book now at joburgtheatre.com.
Let's count backward. 5. Insurance. 4. Pineapple. 3. Insurance. 2. Pineapple. 1. You're under. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Sports Wrap.
Sports Wrap.
With Tolakele Mganga.
Tolakele Mganga joining us in our Joburg studio. I have a message from Keith. Keith says, please, Stellenbosch, take over the MTN contract with Orlando Pirates. It's time that they go back to pay as you go.
Magdi, I think probably Keith and Kaizer Chiefs supporters would probably want that. And of course, that is the big local game of the weekend. We do have a game in the Betway Premiership on Sunday, that one involving Mamelodi Sundowns. But for tomorrow's action, we've got that the MTN 8 final between Stellenbosch and Orlando Pirates. It's a repeat of last year's final that the Buccaneers did win. Of course, we know it was Jose Rivero's final trophy before he eventually left at the end of the campaign. For Adeslam Wadu, he does want to make sure that he starts his tenure on a high. There's still some fans that maybe aren't 100% sold on him. So if they can start his tenure with a trophy against a Stellenbosch team that have been impressive probably over the last 4 seasons, it'll be a good way for everybody to get behind them. And for Pirates to make history, no team has ever won 4 cup trophy, one specific cup trophy in a row. So for them, it's a bit of history on their side. Staley's an emerging force in local football. So they too also want to establish themselves and make a blueprint by winning that trophy for the first time.
I think it's going to be a cracker. Of course, I know who's going to win, though. Box and Bok women both in action against the All Blacks this weekend.
Yes.
That's quite something, huh?
It's quite... Even yesterday, I actually realized that the Spar Proteas are also in action in a series in netball against New Zealand. So the rivalry is crossing across all different sporting codes. It's going to be very interesting. Of course, for the double world champions, they're looking to kind of pick up the pieces of what is an ultimately disappointing rugby championship campaign. 2 defeats. We don't know when the last time the Boks were so questionable in terms of their performances. But the talk has been strong from the camp coming out this week. They're aware of the mistakes that they made. They know that they have to rewrite history, kind of make sure they get everybody on side. Because I think now that we're a year and a bit away from the World Cup, people are now starting to question that, hey, how is this team going to perform when we get to Australia in 2027? So for Rassie Erasmus, Siya Kolisi, the message has been strong. They understand what they did wrong and they expect to fix it when they take on New Zealand tomorrow. And then an historic game for the Springbok women. It's the first time we've ever reached a quarterfinal of a World Cup, and it doesn't get tougher than the defending champions. But Swester Brain says the message is very clear. It's the biggest game of your career. Just go out there, give 100%, and who knows what might happen. We've seen odd results happen all across different sporting codes, and it might be a chance where South Africa finish with a double against both New Zealand national teams.
We can hope and pray, and let's see what happens. And then the Proteas in action as well.
Yes, it's a T20. I know, was it Harry Brook who spoke during the week to say the rain-reduced one was a bit of a farce, but I think as we start to build up towards the T20
because they
World
lost.
Always, you know how the English are, because we're building up to the T20 World Cup in February and March next year. The Proteas do need to find some form. They do need to have players that are kind of making their mark. The injuries are mounting, which is a slight concern for Shukri Conrad. But I think for them, having already claimed that ODI series, you want to make sure that you're kind of finishing off your tour of England with a win. There's a first game today, and then the third game is on Sunday.
Tolakele, thank you so much. Tolakele Mganga taking a look at the busy weekend of sport. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
James, congrats on the babies.
Yeah, thanks. It's a wild ride.
You're a new dad, 2 babies, 0 sleep, and 1 car that apparently couldn't cope.
Yeah, the hatchback was my baby, but it just didn't have enough space for my 2 new babies.
And are you happy with the price when you sold to We Buy Cars?
Very. We've even got some extra cash to splurge on one of those fancy brands that you basically need a license for.
Good luck, James. We Buy Cars. Geared for family, geared for you.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the lady on her way to work, listening to a love song on the radio. She's recreating the music video in her mind with herself as the leading lady. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a concert on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Good things
Good things.
with Brent Lindeke.
Well, wrapping up the week for us with some good news. Brent Lindekoe, the good things guy, who is finally back from living his best life in Europe, chasing the sun. Brenty, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, man, and happy Friday to all of the 702 and Cape Talk listeners. I like the way you started that, living my best life. It was raining there. I miss South Africa so much.
And how's your rand doing?
Yes, it's tough traveling abroad, and obviously I went to go visit family and friends. Thankfully, I was able to work at the same time, but it is expensive. It's expensive.
Well, speaking of tourists, tell us about the Dutch tourist who returned to South Africa to thank the heroes who saved her life.
So Manon, I'm probably going to say her name completely incorrect, but Manon Rouvet Janssen, she's traveled to South Africa a number of times, and 2 years ago she brought her entire family on holiday here. They were having a fantastic holiday when she got into an accident, a boating accident in St. Lucia, and she found herself in an incredibly vulnerable position where she had broken her back. She was rushed to Netcare St. Anne's, and through the world-class medical care and the trauma team that helped her, they were able to operate on her and fix her. She flew back to the Netherlands where she healed up, and it took her a little bit of time to come back to South Africa, but recently she visited us again with her entire family, and she made her way down back to Netcare St. Anne's to just thank the incredible team that she says saved her life. She cannot stop speaking publicly about the world-class hospitals that we have here and the care, the great care and the kind care that she received in South Africa.
What a lack of perspective. We're so quick to criticize everything. Tell us about this car guard's brave intervention that saved a woman from a scary situation.
So we love our car guards. They look after our cars. We get to know them when we get to our shopping centers. And this lady, an anonymous woman who shared her story with us, she was sitting at Watercrest Mall when a man approached her driver's window, sort of to distract her. And to the other side of her car, another man had approached her passenger window. So obviously a very hairy situation. Luckily, a car guard named Patrick calmly and confidently walked up to the car. He spoke to these gentlemen in a language that she didn't know, and the men walked away. So he literally stopped a crime that could have happened. She sent that story into us just to speak about Patrick and to celebrate him and to speak about good South Africans, because they are all around us.
And one smile at a traffic light turned into a life-changing opportunity. Tell us about that one.
So a man whose name is Tristan O'Brien, he noticed something different at a traffic light where someone standing there wasn't begging, they weren't sort of holding up signs, they were just smiling and waving and wishing everybody a bloody good day. Tristan eventually, it took him a couple of days, but he eventually stopped to speak to the gentleman because he was so taken aback by this kindness that he was showing. The gent's name is Labina Letsatsi, and after speaking to him, he found out that he's just there to sort of greet and make everybody's day a little bit happier, but he's also a skilled builder who's in need of work. So Tristan shared his story online, and within a couple of hours, South Africans responded, interviews were set up, transport was arranged, and all those opportunities opened up. I said it on my social media today that things can change with a simple hello. A million things can happen, and that's exactly what happened with this story.
It really just takes one person being kind to change a life. Brent, thank you so much, and I hope you have a lekker weekend.
Thank you, and to all of the listeners, as I say every single Friday, wishing you only good things.
Only good things, Brent Lindekoe, the good things guy.
The Midday Report.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck to Orlando Pirates. Good luck to the Springboks, to the Springbok women, particularly to the Proteas and to the netball team as well. Lots of sport to keep you busy this weekend. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on Cape Talk and 702 was brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. It's 1 o'clock.
This is EWN.
The Western Cape orders a 30-day closure of some troubled taxi routes, and the Steve Biko inquest has been postponed to November. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Let's begin in the Western Cape, where the Mobility Department has announced a 30-day shutdown of several taxi routes and ranks starting Wednesday next week. The decision was taken as violence within the taxi industry continues in the province. Briefing the media this afternoon, Western Cape Mobility MEC Isaac Sileku says his department has been forced to impose extraordinary measures. Several people have been killed and injured, with the latest shooting claiming the life of a Qatar official at the Nyanga taxi rank earlier this week. We shift our focus to the courts now. The Gqeberha High Court has postponed the inquest into the death of anti-apartheid activist Steve Biko. The matter will return to court on November the 12th following case management. Biko died on this day in 1977 in a police cell after a month of his imprisonment. During proceedings this morning, the court heard that there are two persons of interest in the matter who are still alive. The purpose of the inquest is to present evidence that will enable the court to make a finding on whether his death was caused by someone's failure to prevent it. Eastern Cape National Prosecuting Authority spokesperson Luxolo Kyali.
The inquest into the death of Steve Biko, which has been enrolled in the Gqeberha High Court, has now been postponed to the 12th of November for case management. The prosecution has formally informed the judge of the approval by the minister for the inquest to go ahead.
The Communications Department has appointed a service provider to help turn around the financially troubled SABC. The public broadcaster is facing a potential switch-off at the end of the year as Centec, which carries its TV and radio signals, says it is losing more than 70 million rand a month, covering the SABC's unpaid distribution costs. Mongezi Koko reports.
The department confirmed that BMIT Knowledge Group, a long-standing ICT research and advisory firm, has been tasked with developing a new funding model for the SABC. Department spokesperson Gwena Moloto says Communications Minister Soli Malatse believes this move is crucial.
This step honors my commitment to prioritize the financial sustainability of the SABC's future, and given the massive public interest in the broadcaster's financial sustainability, I will share updates as and when the need arises.
The minister says the appointment marks a major step towards long-term sustainability for the SABC, ensuring it can continue serving millions of South Africans. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has slammed the poor running of some northwest municipalities, describing it as unacceptable. The president says at least 10 municipalities in the province are either under administration or facing serious financial trouble. Ramaphosa, along with a few cabinet ministers, are in Rustenburg today to engage the northwest government and some of the troubled municipalities. Speaking on the sidelines of today's event, Ramaphosa singled out the Ditsobotla municipality, which has once again been placed under administration due to poor governance.
We've had in Ditsobotla a process where you had two mayors, two municipal managers, two speakers, and that is just completely unacceptable, because the inability for our leaders in the province at the local level to straighten out the operations of local government is actually resulting in bad services being delivered to our people.
And in the United States, the FBI has released a video of Charlie Kirk's shooting suspect. The person of interest was seen running off a rooftop moments after killing the American conservative activist on Wednesday. The manhunt has now entered a third day, and the FBI is offering a $100,000 reward for information that could lead to his arrest. Authorities say they are gathering the evidence needed to pursue the death penalty for the suspect. Gold is trading at $3,648.89 an ounce. The rand is at 17.40 to the dollar, 23.52 to the pound, 20.34 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $66.04 a barrel.
Well, in Centurion at this hour, there's an accident scene N1 South near the N14 Brakfontein interchange. This is causing heavy delays all the way from Buerta Avenue. There's also slow-moving traffic leaving the Pretoria CBD. That's in Hermanstad on Eskiam Pahlele between Vormhagen and the R80.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 29 and 30 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The Mobility Department in the Western Cape has announced a 30-day shutdown of several taxi routes and ranks starting Wednesday next week.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download